planning to do here. So everyone knows about the first two drafts, quarterbacks, who are going to go in this draft. Everyone knows Fernando Mendoza is going number one, and everyone is wondering where Ty Simpson is going to go. There are three quarterbacks who will go somewhere after that. Maybe late round two is where the beginning of the conversation is. Maybe round three, maybe even sliding into round four. And they are Carson Beck, Garrett Nussmeier, and Drew Aller. So what I wanted to do, we'll do each one of them quickly, is show everybody what makes them good, what it is that might make them hopeful that this guy could turn into something, and then show us why it is they're still going to be available as deep as they're going to be. Start with Carson Beck.
Okay, great. Look, he is well built. He's 6'4", he's experienced, he has 43 starts, and he's been productive. He has 88 touchdowns. He has a really good arm. Looking here against Florida State, gets the ball out of his hands quickly, and he's accurate. The next play we have, you're going to see, again, move in the pocket, great deep ball accuracy for a touchdown.
That's against Notre Dame, too.
And that's against Notre Dame.
Right.
And here's the bad play. National championship game, you have a chance to win. 50 seconds to go in the game, you throw the ball into double coverage on first down. That can't happen. There's going to be somebody that says, hey, I can take the good at 6'4", 43 starts, and we can eliminate that decision. And we have Matt Schaub in the third round, a good starter. So we can eliminate the negatives with Beck. You really may have something.
Look, there was a time, and people remember him from his days at Georgia. People were forecasting him to be the first pick in the draft. Mel is projecting him to be the third quarterback in this class. Field Yates has his question marks. Are you getting, if any, Jeff Darlington, from the people you talk to about when roughly we should be expecting to hear the name of whoever the third quarterback is in this class?
I still continue to hear at least day two, and this does not feel like any type of situation where a team will reach into the first round for one.
No.
This draft feels much more in terms of support system quarterbacks. Bring them in, groom them, let them play a backup role for several years. I do not see a team jumping into the first to get these guys.
No, nor do I. To be clear, I'm not even 100% sure Ty Simpson's going to go in the first round. I'm not sure that any of these other quarterbacks will go in round two. I think we'll see at least one of them go in round three. Maybe it will be Garrett Nussmeier. Let's do him. Give me a quick read. Show me some things he does well, and then the thing that you'd be concerned about.
Yeah, 23 starts. He's slightly undersized, but he's accurate. Look at this tight window throw against Vandy. That's an NFL window. That's a really good throw. Next throw, down the field. Look at this window, Greeny, against Florida. That's an outstanding throw. And then sometimes he makes bad decisions and he's careless. We have a throw here against South Carolina in the end zone. You can't make that play into double coverage. You're taking points off the board. So again, similar to Beck, if we can eliminate some of those mistakes, you may have a starter. I have him below Beck because of his size. I'm a little concerned about his durability.
Yeah, doesn't have the measurables that Beck does. The guy who does is Drew Aller from Penn State. When this season began, a lot of people projected him to be the first pick. If you created a quarterback in a lab, he would look just like this.
That's exactly right, Greeny. And he has a really good arm against UCLA here. Makes an outstanding throw. And he can get the ball down the field. Ironically, this is against Oregon, good and bad. That's a perfect throw, again, at 6'5". And then in overtime, this is an absolute killer mistake. Dylan Thiemann makes a good play. On first down, you can't throw the ball into double coverage. So dealt with an injury, made some mistakes at key times. Again, someone's going to look at Drew Aller's frame, his character, and his upside and say, hey, if we can eliminate the mistakes, to get somebody like that in the middle rounds with incredible upside, someone's going to take a shot on him.
Yeah, absolutely. He's one that I think, look, Drew Aller seemed to have everything going his way this season. Everything at Penn State went wrong, right? I mean, you don't need me to tell you all the things that went wrong at Penn State. Someone grab him, put him on their bench, let him learn for a year or two. Maybe you wind up with a diamond in the rough. Now, there's one other thing. To Philadelphia we go. The Eagles are slated to make their first pick night one at number 23. General Manager Howie Roseman says he tends to overcompensate when it comes to his draft day approach because he thinks about his first round draft misses every day. And that aggressive approach, though, has helped him land late first-round prospects like Devontae Smith and Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter and Quinyon Mitchell. None of those coming in the top 3 or 4 picks where you usually get the top-line players. Jeff, what are we looking at here with the Eagles right now? If the Eagles draft a wide receiver at number 23, the world will immediately make assumptions about A.J. Brown. What is your sense of all this?
As they should. I would imagine, from speaking to people around the NFL, they do anticipate the Eagles operating from a place that A.J. Brown will not be on their roster week one. Now, certainly things could change, but when you're going into a draft with a player that you're waiting until after June 1st to potentially trade, you have to operate within those mindsets. You have to think about what is our team going to look like without A.J. Brown if and when we trade him. So if they take a wide receiver, absolutely come to that conclusion. I also do think, though, even if they don't take the wide receiver, that is not a suggestion that A.J. Brown will be sticking around. This is a team that will be operating in this draft as if they eventually will be moving A.J. Brown, whether they ultimately do it or not.
And Dominique, this is now we're getting a little closer to declarative than we've had in the past on this whole situation in Philly. So once and for all, is that the right move? I've had people up here tell me you don't get better by trading away a player that good. What is your sense of that in Philadelphia?
Yeah, I mean, I think that they've made the decision that they're going that direction or not. It felt like they got to a point at the end of last year that it was clear for everyone, and they've already started operating the way that Jeff's talking about. They brought in Dontavian Wicks to replace A.J. Brown. Should he move on? They already have Devontae Smith out there, and they've added Hollywood Brown. Like, they have the receiving core to pass on a receiver in the first round if they want to, and go with maybe O-line or an edge rusher to reinstate that power that they had with their front four on defense and with their front five on offense.
I want to give one more name to everybody, Mike T, and I'll let you do it. I think you mentioned it yesterday. If they're looking for a bigger physical receiver late in the first round of this draft, not that anyone replaces A.J. Brown because he's a great player, but someone to sort of do some of the things that he does, there may be that guy in this draft.
Denzel Boston, University of Washington, 4-year starter, big physical receiver. He profiles like A.J. Brown. Again, not saying he's going to be,
right,
but to what Nick just talked about, he's a perfect complement to the undersized quickness of Hollywood Brown, Devontae Smith. So I know we're in the speculation game. If they would draft Denzel Boston, not saying they're going to, but if they did, that would be a very meaningful sign about the future of A.J. Brown in Philly.
It is such a great little moment in sports, because we got the NFL draft next week, and we got the NBA playoffs underway, and we have this. Because Mike, not only were you an analyst and an evaluator of talent, but you also talked to so many people around the league. When the Giants have finished their selection, when we get to number 6 and the Browns go on the clock, and maybe they trade it, but whatever the case, when we get to 6, do you believe Jeremiah Love will still be on the board?
I do. My gut is they go defense, although I'm fascinated by what John Harbaugh does because, again, this is his first time running a draft. I think it's going to come down to the best Ohio State defensive player and Jeremiah Love. I think it's close, but my gut would say defense.
So Tennessee and the Giants both go defense?
I believe so.
Okay, so which would mean Love would still be there sitting at 6.
Yeah, and the interesting thing about Tennessee, we talk about Robert Saleh, and if the ceiling of Sonny Styles is Fred Warner and you're Robert Saleh and you're in year 1 and you could get the quarterback of your defense for the next 10 years, again, atypical to take an off-the-ball linebacker, but there's a lot of dot connecting there on that.
Okay, fair enough. And so then my final headline comes from you, Mike T. 1 week from this morning, we'll be sitting in these chairs talking about round 1 of the draft, and what will we be saying is the headline?
The Dallas Cowboys stick and pick at 12 and 20. They get 2 good defensive starters, and they meaningfully compete for the NFC East in 2026. Mel Kiper has them trading up. I think they're more than one player away. I think the board will fall their way, and they get 2 really good players at 12 and 20.
Give me a roughly on who 12 might be. Like, who are you thinking of? As you're making that prediction, who is it you have in your mind at 12?
Mansour Delaney, because I think Kansas City and Cincinnati could go non-cornerback, and I think it could follow them, which would be phenomenal. Greeny, this is by far the best corner in this draft. He could play man-to-man. He has great ball skills. He's competitive. He's physical. I think he's going to be an outstanding player, and I think it's very possible that he is there at 12. And then if you're Dallas, you come back at 20 with Akeem Messidor, Zion Young, you could still get a good pass rusher. But if you can get Mansour Delaney at 12, that is a home run for the Cowboys.
Nick, you're a corner. Have you been watching Mansour Delaney? What do you think?
Absolutely. He's tremendous. I'm surprised that Mike T said he's head and shoulders above, because I think Jamad McCoy, even though he didn't play last year, is an excellent prospect. And honestly, I'd be shocked if Delane is still there at 12. I think given that it feels like this draft only really has 2 kind of guaranteed starting corners at a really high value position, with a lot of teams at the top of the draft that need defense, I really think that the Chiefs are a team I would look at losing almost all of their corners on their roster, not letting Delane or McCoy get past them.
Now, for those of you who've not been following through the process, Mansour Delaney, clean as can be, outstanding defensive back. Tremad McCoy may be more talented, but injury concerns have been a major problem. As Dominique said, he didn't play all of last year. Jeff, finish it up.
I just agree with that thought on the Chiefs. The Chiefs can go so many different directions, and that's the pivot point in this first round. That changes everything when you talk about potentially the Cowboys what the Chiefs do, and they can go any number of directions, will dictate the following picks after it.
You'll be covering Kansas City for us, if I'm not mistaken, next week, right, Jeff? So what is the sense that you are getting out there, or from the people that you start talking to about where they're looking at 9? Because I agree with you that they could go either offense or defense, and that will pivot a lot of what happens right after.
Yeah, they are so fascinating because we have a team that's a Super Bowl contender picking so early on, but a team that does have a lot of needs. They can literally go in a number of directions that would satisfy the roster and also get value. So I really don't think that it's easy to project. Brett Veach is going to sit there and wait and see what happens for those first picks before he decides what the best value is, what the best need is, and where those two parts